Yo, my name is Jerrod Puntai. I drive the C33 Laurel, sponsored by Smoke Signal TT, Simple Scheming, Mad Gear Motorsports, Blue Coral Racing, Big Papi Racing, UNEQLD Photography. Well, growing up, my dad was into those street racing, those small cars, nothing boosted, nothing, over the edge. But he had like little projects with SR20s, non-turbo, and I grew up seeing that. I always like it. And then a few years later, one of my cousins, Renard, he actually had a C-Ferro, and it's only then I realized, wait, this is what boosters sound like, and especially the RB. And I get real into it since then. I like it a lot. And growing up with our dad, our father who was in it, he would give you the best advice possible and tell you, car is dead money. And you can never get back your investment and whatever. Something is a hobby, it's an expensive hobby, right? So for years and years you fight it. You fight the urge to get into it until I just couldn't fight it no more. I wanted to get into it. I wanted to get some boost and mostly a RB engine in our car. The C33 was the way I chose to go. The R chassis and the S chassis are harder to get, but the parts would work in the car. I find a car with a RB20 turbo. Stock, it was giving trouble, could I barely drive, could I barely start. Fuel, it was a mess. That's where the whole process starts. The processor, the car, and the processor getting licked. So yeah, so the first work I started doing the car, went by X, and that person, first thing I wanted to do was just refresh the car, basically fix the little minor rust spots, get the car working with the original engine and everything. I get licks with that. I get the car to do whatever, like to function, start, drive. But after that, was just always something going on. I guess it's because of the age and the person who had it before didn't really take much care. But whatever, it was a project car. I didn't really want to go into a full bill, but the events, after the first time I got some problems with it, I carry it. I say I go in and paint over the car and refresh the same RB20 engine. So we had a guy open it up, carried machine shop, full works. That car reached back, went to the dyno. It made like 200 and something horsepower, and then the engine lock. Well, I wouldn't say lock, but just when it get hot, it just wasn't starting, just tumbling, like kind of tight now. Only when the engine get cool, it will start. I was real frustrated, I got fed up. And that was the RB20. I realized I wasn't going to make the power I wanted to make with that, and then it's too much money to build that to get the power. So the next day we pull out that engine, and we find a Neo. We put in the RB25 Neo stock with the same bolt-ons in intake manifold turbo injectors and a Haltech 750. Made 400 horsepower the next day on the dyno, and then the weekend after we went to Wallerfield. So the first time ever I going to try and do a donut in the big open safe space. As soon as I started to swing the car, it just kind of like how to say about it, like it missed and it just catch on fire. The engine catch on fire. Only to realize the fuel rate was slack. Again, I'm not a mechanic. That's the people who was fixing the car at that point, right? I was about to give up, sell out, scrap out. At that point, I just run away and I watched my car from a far back on fire. I had no fire extinguisher on me. A good bit of fellas end up coming out in the car and saving it. One of those guys would be Shiva Muna. And after he out the car, and he jumped back in his car and just continued shredding it. Like I say, I thought this man was trying to just end his car. Until I realized he done do all that and then just drive up in the wreck and go home. I realized, wait, boy, this man car working real good. I never see like a car get so much licks and just going home normal. So I take some time. I take a few weeks to kind of decide what I really wanted to do, because I love the sport. I like the project behind it. But it was just a bit discouraging with all the licks and the money you're spending and you get no results from your car. They're walking how you want to walk. Things slack, things falling out. It was a little headache. So after the 2 weeks, I decided to call Muna and say, hey, let me see what we can do to repair the damages now. You know, it was the harness get burned up. Some stuff in the front get burned up, but nothing major, no damage to the engine or anything like that. So the car reached here and slowly started going to the spiral of doing a full rebuild. Because every other day I'll call Shiva and be like, hey, this part good, babe? Until I started reaching the point where online I'm watching piston, rods, cams, spring, retainers, everything. So we take out the head-on block, scrap it down. We do some piston rods. We do oversized 20 pistons, CP pistons, Tommy rods, normal bearings and head studs, gasket, normal thing like that. We have a head drain to the back. We have a head drain to the front. The head is Tommy cams, 272 cams, Kelford spring and retainers, port and polish. We use a Nito oil pump. We have a Pulsar turbo, a custom built manifold from ThinkKid, and the RB25 Neo intake manifold. All managed by a Haltech Nexus R3, wired and tuned by Big Papi Racing. Fuel system redone with fuel cell, surge tank, all braided lines. The gearbox we ended up using was the CD09, which is the 350Z gearbox, the 6-speed, with a Marsworks adapter plate. And we have a Clutch Masters twin disc from Blue Coral Racing, rated for 600-700 horsepower. Yeah. The car on 3 pump gas tunes, 10 psi, which is around 390, 15 psi, which is 450, and 18 pounds, which is around 500. On the pump gas, we use this. This is just safer on the engine and everything. And probably from the next event, we might switch to the race gas, put the car on race gas. We didn't, the car built, the engine is built for 1,000 horsepower, but we don't need 1,000 horsepower. We could have real fun and get through with around 400 or 500 horsepower. So that's where we have the car. Even on the race gas, we have it around the same 450, 500. We tune up to about 620 on the race gas on 20 pounds a boost, but the clutch couldn't take how aggressive the boost was coming in. So we decided not to even bother to go up there, at least for now, because the car working real good as is on the 10 to 18 pounds around there. Drift bill, so you know, I never used to take it that serious. I used to say, well, you know, I'll just go and do my little donut somewhere, figure 8, I'll learn to do them thing. Keep it as a street car, street legal, everything. But after coming down in the garage here, I wanted to get more into the drifting, more into the precision drifting and the high-speed drift, which we now do in the Waller field. And I started to get into it more and more. I like it. There's a lot of adrenaline. So I'm just gonna continue going under the guidance of Shiva from MADSPEC in this drift career to see where it takes me. The car is fully set up and everything. The drift is just now to learn and execute.
Practice number 3, feeling jiggy.
Getting into this, I didn't know nothing. All I know is I love the sound of RB. You know, I love the RB. As to how much power I want, I don't know nothing about that. I want the car working. Now that we get into it now and we know the figures and what we could do with the carning, 400, 500 is good enough for the driving we had to do. But I would say the main thing getting a Laurel, the main thing for me was to have the car in a working condition where you can hammer it for an entire day on the track like we do. You go in Sunday school, you go any car park anywhere, hammer the car, and we can drive home after normal. Next day start the car normal. And that's what I wanted, and that's what I get from MADSPEC Motorsports. You know, that's why we here, we enjoy the car. We have the most fun I ever had was when this car finished building this garage. So that is it. The main thing is to have a proper working car where you can do what you want and drive home after. I see it before many times, and MADSPEC don't just build your car for you. They teach you how to use the car, how to properly drive the car, how to drift the car without damaging the car, you know, damaging certain components. I would say something. You could buy the most expensive parts you want for your car. You could buy billet everything if you could. The most expensive turbo, cams, everything. You can do that. You can buy everything. But as I always say, based on my experience, is a matter who install the parts for you. It's not just buying the parts and putting it in the car. It's who install the parts for you. Because these things is not just buy and install, buy and drop in. It's not like that. Even if it's a drop in parts, it's not just drop in. It has certain things you have to do. That an experienced mechanic, a man who have more than one drift car, would know and would show you now. So you don't end up in future problems. When we don't drive this car, the only thing we have to do is come and change oil now. You check suspension and make sure everything's good, but you just change oil. No sort of maintenance to do. You gotta fix nothing every time you drive. That's the MADSPEC way. That's how we work down here. You don't have to get anxious to start your car and drive, basically. Everybody wanna drift. I mean, it's have a real big portion of Trinidad that into the drift. I mean, at the same time, everybody can just build a drift car and drive. If you want to drift, if you want to drive, you can come in Simples. Simples is the simulation store. You can sit and drive, get experience, get a feel of an actual drift car, because the game is set up in such a way to be as close to real drifting as possible, with all the movement and the breeze and the G's and all that, but close enough to get technique. I don't have to say much. MADSPEC Motorsports to the world. We'll sort out your car, no matter what. And Torco, Blue Coral Racing. Torco is what the engine is run on. The Torco oil, Torco fuels, safety and reliability. We have never had a problem with it. And for proper quality parts and reliability and like a lot of, what to say boy, a lot of service apart from just selling your parts. Blue Coral, but we'll sort you out properly with proper parts and, you know, the proper support and everything you need. Yeah.